Welcome to WagerTalk Today. We're really, really excited to have you on.
Hey, thank you very much, and welcome to the club. My brain is blank from watching CNN and Fox and all these other news channels. I've watched more of this political stuff in the last 2.5 weeks than I think I have in the last 3.5 years, and man, it's crazy. But yeah, no, I guess I don't. Sportsbook manager, sportsbook brand manager. I work more in the marketing side of things. I work with the stage, the guys, the odds guys close, but I'm more at technically the marketing side of things. But we work hand in hand. So I work with all the odds, especially the political stuff. I'm all over it.
Yeah, listen, it's funny. I was talking to somebody last night, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. It's fascinating times we live in. I'm 55 years old, and normally I'm watching television shows, sporting events. Now I can't get the news off. I'm watching it all, dude. I am soaking up news. It is the most fascinating times I've ever lived in.
It is. I mean, I tweeted out yesterday, like the House of Cards has nothing on what the hell's going on in front of us now. I mean, if this was season 6 or season 7 of the House of Cards, I'd be like, this isn't plausible, man. It's time for this show to end. But it's playing out. I hate politics. Personally, I hate politics. I've always never liked politics at all. But this is fascinating. I mean, the betting makes it fun. I mean, it really does. I mean, you always talk about how, a lot of people just bet to make the game fun. It's like an entertainment wager. It's a form of entertainment. And this is a perfect example for me, at least, because if it wasn't for the betting and my job and being fascinated by the market, I would tune out because it's not my cup of tea, all the politicians and everything. But man, it's something else. I'm glued to the TV. I couldn't even tell you what the heck is going on in the world anymore.
We've got extended time today with Dave Mason from BetOnline AG. Dave, I had the pleasure of spending a memorable night with you in San Jose, Costa Rica. Me, you, and Matt Holt, we were watching UFC that night. It was a pleasure and a half. That was years ago. Let's not bury the lead for today. What are the odds right now for the 2024 presidential election?
Right this second, and they could change by the time I finish this answer this question, man. But Trump is minus 250. Yesterday was minus 300, so that's come down a little bit. Kamala, she's plus 280. She was 12-1 yesterday, and Biden plus 850. He was plus 325 yesterday. And again, yesterday the big event. Every other day there's some big event that happens. And of course, yesterday was the positive COVID test. As far as our needs there, Trump is actually a huge win for us right now, and Kamala's a big loss, and Biden's a huge loss. So we're Trump fans from a liability standpoint at the moment. I think that will change, though.
You're listening to Wager Talk Today. We have Dave Mason from betonline.ag with us. If you've never heard this show before, we're on every day, 12 p.m. Eastern to 1 o'clock. Teddy and I are the co-hosts. We give out a ton of incredible sports betting information. Dave, in keeping with what we're talking about, let's talk about the markets that you guys are offering. Obviously there's a lot more than just whether Trump will win or Kamala or, Biden. I was looking through the website earlier today, and I mean, you've got bets up there for Michelle Obama. You've got head-to-head bets. Tell us the options available to the clients. And out of curiosity, which ones are the ones that are seeing the most action?
Well, the biggest action, are the ones that we just talked about, the presidential. But now the Democratic nominee, I mean, now that's in play again, right? The pre-debate is like, a little action here and there. Some people thinking Biden will eventually, but now it's a hot ticket again. I mean, we're getting just as much, if not more, action on Democratic nominee the last 2.5 weeks than we have on the presidential election. And Harris is now the minus 170 favorite to win the Democratic nominee. Biden's plus 180. Yesterday, they were minus 800 for Biden, plus 800 for Harris. That's been on the move big time since yesterday. But the hypotheticals are good. Trump versus different names. Trump is minus 225 versus Harris plus 160. Trump minus 300 versus Biden plus 200. And then some other names. Another popular market, Biden to withdraw before the convention. Last I looked at, this has changed. About an hour ago, is minus 160 yes, plus No, plus 120. That's definitely moved. That's higher now. And also the stuff that just pops up, like the debate props were huge. And now we have Trump's convention speech tonight. Length is over under 69.5 minutes. Stuff like, what is he going to say first? Crooked Joe Biden, minus 150. Laughing Kamala, plus 225. Sleepy Joe, plus 450. Crooked Hillary pays out at 14-1. So, whenever there's something, we have a great team of marketers and odds guys, and we are all into this political stuff. It's a huge betting market, so we go full board, man. We offer as much as possible.
Dave Mason, BetOnline.ag on WagerTalk Today. If you like this type of commentary, we appreciate the likes, we appreciate the follows very much. Let's talk about a little election history. 2016 election night, I watched it live. Trump went from an 8-1 dog to like an 8-1 favorite in an hour. Talk to me about that night. What was that like, booking that?
Oh, it was crazy. And part of the craziness, I mean, that was like, I think, I've been doing this since the early 2000s, and that was the first election where, action really went through the roof. And,
Yep.
A lot of live action. I'm sure Trump had a big part of that, right? Anytime there's, controversy and one side hating the other, it doesn't matter if it's the Yankees, Red Sox, or, whatever big rivalry, Ohio State, Michigan, whatever. As there's more controversy, more heated, and more trash talk, you're going to get more eyeballs, and which equals more action. So the action was absolutely through the roof. The exit polls indicated Clinton. All the polls indicated Clinton. But Trump just started redrawing the map. Florida started moving to Trump, which back then was always more or less a toss-up. He overperformed in Virginia, then Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin started declaring, and everybody just underestimated the Rust Belt. That Trump was going to dominate the Rust Belt like that, and Clinton. She just ran such a horrible, of course, hindsight's 2020, but looking back on it, just a horrible campaign. And she ignored that Rust Belt, and that was the dagger right there. So it was a loser for the House. We needed Clinton that night. It was a loser for the House, but we got it back in 2020.
Dave, couple of quick questions for me before we throw back to Teddy.
Sure,
first one, real quick, not on our list. Was there a line for an assassination attempt?
No. We do a lot of crazy stuff, but that's just it's a little overboard. We don't want to take action on anybody getting. We even if it's a world dictator, we won't even touch that. So we kind of held off on stuff like that.
Guys listening to this show, to give you perspective of political betting, and I know in America, especially if you're using the books that are in country, the DraftKings, the FanDuels, etc., political betting, betting on the U.S. Election is illegal, and I get that, but so you understand the enormity of this 2020 election, biggest betting event in BetOnline's history, bigger than the Super Bowl. Dave, did that shock you? Tell us about that night, the two-way action that came in, the liability. I mean, I had no idea that a political betting would rival and surpass Super Bowl betting.
Neither did I. I mean, 5-6 years ago, you would have told me that. I would have been no way, even though 2016 was huge. But, 2020, it was crazy, man. And like at the time, that was the biggest betting day, most actives, most action we've ever done in the history of BetOnline. This is the biggest betting event in the history of BetOnline. Since a couple of Super Bowls have exceeded that, we should break that this year. I think a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines to kind of see what pans out on the Democratic side of who's going to be the nominee. So once they decide on a nominee there, I think we'll see a lot more action coming in. So we're a little bit behind 2020, but I think we'll overtake it once that settles. The night itself, it was nuts. It was a big winner for the House. We needed Biden big. The sharps were on Biden. Public was on Trump. We all know how the odds are going all over the place, and Trump was favored in some states, and then he ended up losing those states. But there were so many other factors. I mean, that was the COVID year too, right? I mean, all the mail-in ballots and stuff we learned too. I mean, people think we just know everything, and it's like those states. It's like we didn't know. We didn't really know that they're going to count those ballots back. The whatever the mail-in ballots last, and of course they're going to go to Biden and yada yada yada. So it was nuts. It was nuts for us, but the right side for the House definitely won that night.
So I have a book right here. It's called "The Roll the Bones" by David Schwartz. I think it's the name. What's his name? David Schwartz. Yeah, David Schwartz. It's a history of gambling. Like from the Egyptian time, like a world history. And it talked about how big election betting was in the U.S. in like the 1800s, that it was the single biggest betting event. People would go crazy betting on the presidential elections. What do you think 2024 is going to be like? Is this going to be even bigger?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like I said, I think, we're a little bit behind what we were in 2020. But I think a lot of people are kind of sitting on the sideline. Well, if you just take the market of president, then we're a little bit behind. But you take the market of like the Democratic nominee, and this is surpassing what we did in 2020. So there's a lot of moving parts here, right? You bundle it all up, we're ahead. But for the presidential odds, I mean, it's crazy, the action coming in. But I think a lot of people are still sitting on the sidelines a little bit to wait to see how the Democratic nominee. Once they settle there, people make their play more on Trump or anti-Trump, I believe. And I think the Trump bettors are kind of waiting a little bit longer too. His odds are a little bit higher now. So, I think they're waiting for him to come down, which I believe they will.
We're talking with Dave Mason, BetOnline AG. And of course, if you like this type of comments here on WagerTalk Today, give us a like, give us a comment, and we appreciate all the subscriptions, more than 160,000 of you following the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Let's talk about BOL's clientele, or in general. I mean, do sports bettors run Democrat or Republican? What's the skew in your estimation? And for your particular clientele, do you think that you fit the broader pattern? Does your clientele skew one way or the other? And if it does, do you have to adjust the numbers at all in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure. It's not one of those things we put on our law sign up form. So we're not asking for your date of birth, your phone number, and your political affiliation. So this is just a guess. I think it's an educated guess. It's definitely more Republican. I would say 60 to 70%. And again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty that's what my guess would be, 60 to 70%. What was the second part of that question,
Dave,
Teddy? I'm sorry. Was there a second part of that?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask, but here, I mean, it's kind of like I'm stealing Lawrence's follow-up. But when you talk about if you're slightly skewed Republican,
okay, yeah, right.
Does it affect how you set and move the numbers?
I mean, I guess if they're betting that way, right? I mean, you're always going to move a little bit off action. But a little bit in that way, but we don't foresee it. We don't our bettors are 70% Republicans, so we better add 20-cent juice onto Trump. Now it doesn't work that way. Now if the action comes in that way, we'll move it. And like I said, it really hasn't yet on this election. But how we set the numbers, it's our opinion. We have guys that pay a lot of attention to this. We have our guy who's our main political guy. He's a historian. He knows everything about every darn election. He's actually located in the UK, but he knows that he follows every election on the planet Earth, man. You can ask him what the hell's going on in Uganda, and I'll tell you. So it's incredible. But so we have a bunch of opinions, sharp action, of course, the public action, polls, right, which kind of hand in hand with opinion. It just. And we also pay attention to our competitors, whether other sports books or exchanges. You kind of still have to stay. Yeah, I mean, guys that say, "Oh, we don't pay." Some of these books, BS. We all kind of look at each other. We all have to look. Why wouldn't you? Especially some of the more respected books. Why wouldn't you? The data's out there. Oh, this book moved. We respect them. Well, what's going on here? Now we might not be identical, but we're still gonna bake our opinion in and what we think. With that being said, we're definitely going to take what other books and exchanges are doing as well, 100%.
Dave Mason joining us. Guys, you're watching Wager Talk today. We're on every day, Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We are genuinely regarded by me as the best daily sports betting show on the planet. We just had some breaking news come in, Dave. Former President Barack Obama has told allies in recent days that President Biden's path to victory is greatly diminished. Duh. And he thinks the president needs to seriously consider the viability of his candidacy. Listen, Captain Obvious, thanks, Obama. Are the lines moving as we speak?
Oh, boy. They probably are. They probably are. I mean, you can't keep up with this, man. It's crazy, but they'll move on that too. I'm sure another 20 cents or at least. I mean, it's nonstop. I mean, all these big events happen and they move back, but I mean, I've been saying for a while Biden's done. So from a betting perspective, I need him gone. No political. I'm not going to share any of my political beliefs. I don't do that in public. But from a betting perspective, I want him gone. I need to make some money.
Well, let's
talk about how these markets have been moving. All right.
What's that?
Because the markets.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Lawrence.
Go ahead.
Okay. We've been talking about how the markets are moving right now. Let's talk about, because the markets, I mean, over the last couple of months, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened. I want to ask how the markets moved. So Trump got convicted on the 34 felony counts. Did the money come for Trump then, or Biden, or no action?
Before the felony accounts, before Trump was minus 165. Yeah, convicted, right. Trump minus 165, Biden plus 130. After Trump minus 120, Biden plus 110. It crept back up though, man. I told the guys, like, yeah, let's keep it the same. Let's make Trump minus 175. It's not going to mean anything for the betting market, but, so it crept back up. It went down like that, then it crept back up.
And Biden's debate show, how much did that affect the markets?
Teddy?
Yeah.
Sorry. Dave, one of our viewers logs in every day in our chat live. Really appreciate all of these guys who do that. He wants to know if you're also taking bets on who'll win the states.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have them all up right now. They let me click on there. State betting. Yeah. For Pennsylvania, for instance, we have Republicans minus 200. Take back on Dems is plus 150. Wisconsin, Republicans minus 190. So we have about 6 states up there. We're going to have more, actually. Thanks for the reminder. I was going to hit my political guy today and ask to add some more, but we have 6 states up there right now.
Teddy?
So we were talking about how the markets have been moving. We talked about how the money initially came for Biden after the Trump conviction on the 34 felony counts, and then Biden put, one of the ugliest debate showings you'll ever see. Talk about that night. How the markets moved.
Right. Debate. Yeah, sure. Before debate, Trump was minus 150. Take back on Biden was plus 130. Then after Trump went to minus 185, Biden plus 350. And then numerous Democrats started getting shorter, like Michelle Obama and Newsom was the biggest back then. Kamala a little bit. She wasn't making that much noise right away, but Newsom was the biggest drop. And then Michelle Obama was getting bet, and a little bit of Whitmer, and nothing much on Kamala at that point, but ever since then.
And then the failed assassination attempt. How much did that move the number? Was that a big move or not so much?
Let's see. Yeah, it was. And again, I'm giving you the general after numbers because they did bounce around a little bit, an hour after, 2 hours, the midnight, but I'm giving you kind of the general after the kind of dust settled. Not that it's ever settling, but before Trump was minus 175, Biden plus 325, Kamala plus 425 after the failed assassination attempt. Thank God. Trump minus 300, Biden plus 550. That bounced back down to 375 the next day. Then Kamala plus 800.
And last
Dave
but not
Mason,
least, the
Teddy,
JD
you want to
Vance
keep going? JD Vance.
Yes, Lawrence, as I texted you, as we're going. So have the markets moved at all this
JD
week?
Vance,
Yeah.
JD Vance. I mean, they've moved this week, sure, but not because of JD Vance. That's a nothing burger. It didn't matter who he's going to take.
Okay, Teddy, I got one last question. Go ahead, Dave.
But the big one is the COVID. I mean, that was a big event yesterday. So I just want to add that before he got Biden diagnosed with COVID, Trump minus 175, Biden plus 325, Kamala 12-1. Now Trump minus 250, Biden 8-1, and Kamala plus 280. So that was a big one yesterday, of course.
Guys watching Wager Talk today, we are going to run a little late. Andrew McGinnis is still in the wings. He's got 2 CFL bets. We will get him on quick at the end of the show. Dave, I have one more question in regards to the election, and I hope we have a moment to talk NFL with you as well. I'll leave that with Teddy. My question to you is, if you had one single actionable bet that you can make today in regards to the 2024 election, what would it be?
Today, I mean, I'll still back Biden coming out. I mean, I don't know what the price is now. I think we just took it off the board, but it was minus 175 that he's gonna pull out before the convention, and I was betting that at plus money. So, that would still be my bet. But like I said, we just took that off the board. It looks like within the last hour. Might have been that Obama tweet. Who knows? He's done. He's done. No, I've been calling him for a year. He's done. I mean, he's just. There's no shot. Go ahead. Sorry, Ted.
That's all right, Dave. As we were talking, as we were discussing these questions, you sent me a note back. You said generally odds move with the polls. It's one part of the equation, and to me that's fascinating. What other parts of the equation are there? And is setting the odds as simple as just getting accurate polling info and checking out what the rest of the markets are?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's ever anything since accurate polling info. I mean, it's all kind of some's better than others, but none of it's 100%. I mean, that's part of the equation. That's like I said earlier. We base it off polling, we base it off action, we base it off our own opinions. I think we have some guys that pay attention to this stuff a lot. Like I said, our one guy, he's a historian. This is his life is different markets, different political odds. I'm paying attention to it nonstop. The action, especially the sharp action, and just the news that comes in and comparing to other markets around the world, we do not ignore them as well. We want to stay kind of within range. We don't want to be too far off from other markets.
So I know Lawrence does want to ask NFL. I'm going to ask you one last political question, and it comes down to this. And the answer may be, I don't know. But where do you see the markets moving from here?
Man, it's a tough one, especially this one, because every day there's some new freaking drama, dude. I mean, it's what the hell is next? I mean, what the hell is next? We went from an assassination attempt to a positive COVID test. I mean, I don't know what the hell to think. But anything could happen. But if Biden goes out and Kamala is the nominee, I don't see how they're going to select anybody but Kamala. I think the odds were shortened. I don't think she can beat Trump, but the odds will definitely shorten. They're not going to be too high for Trump. They just won't be. They got minus 250 now. I think that will actually come down a little bit, to tell you the truth. Which I think I'd have to bet Trump if it's minus 200 or lower against Kamala.
I will.
Yeah, good.
I'm sitting up in Canada, and please drop to minus 200. Dave Mason joining us from BetOnline. Dave, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you don't have this information handy, I understand, but let's talk really quick some NFL, and let's just focus on futures. What is, if you know the over and under win-loss, is there any team that is getting a really great action? And also maybe who you're seeing for winning it all this year?
All right, so over under win totals, season win totals. Our biggest I'll read off some of our biggest liabilities. Cardinals over 6.5, Colts over 8.5, Chargers over 8.5, Bears over 8.5, I believe that is. So those are our biggest liabilities. Those are the ones we lose the biggest on. As you notice, they're all overs, which is usually kind of they bet overs on. The public doesn't only bet overs on the game total, but they also bet them on season wins. As far as the most popular bet, Steelers is the most popular bet, over 8.5 by far. I mean, there's twice as many bets on the Steelers as there are the next most popular team, which is the Cowboys, under 10.5, Cards over 6.5, Falcons under 9.5, and Vikings over 7.5. As far as Super Bowl liabilities, Packers, big liability, 14-1, Lions, 12-1, Chiefs, 5-1, Eagles go Birds, 12-1, Dolphins, 25-1, and the Jets, 20-1. So those are our biggest Super Bowl liabilities.
Dave, I'm going to throw to Teddy right after this, but we're getting a lot of people in the chat room saying comments like, we need Dave on weekly. Listen, we would love to have you on a regular basis. We don't need to discuss this now on air, but outstanding segment. I cannot thank you enough for taking time to join us. Please, let's try figure out a regular spot for you. Teddy?
Dave, before we let you go, let me let you promote, my friend. What do you have going at betonline.ag right now?
Yeah, betonline.ag. Come on. We have the biggest, we're talking politics. We have the biggest and largest offering of political odds. No one beats our odds. They're there, and we're adding more and more every day. We have the big speech tonight. So we have, if you want to bet on that, come on over. We have a ton of markets for the speech. Reload bonuses, everything, man. We have a great VIP program with some of the earliest opening odds. Football season around the corner, baseball season right now. We have great dime lines. A lot of books aren't offering dime lines anymore, but we are. So we got it all, man. We try to check as many boxes as anybody. Some books specialize in sharp players, some recreational players. We try to check as many boxes as any book out there.
Dave Mason from BetOnline, everyone, and we'll be talking to Dave off air about becoming a regular, adding him to the roster with Art and Sherapan and the rest of them. We just want the show better and better every day. Dave, thank you, my friend. Kick ass. And I hope everything falls right for you on this election.